Wagwan, what's great? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you very much for stopping by. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Chef John Morris. You saw the title as always, and you saw that beautiful thumbnail. Today, we're making cheesecake, but not any regular cheesecake, you know. We have put a twist on it to suit not just this time of the year, but all year round. And we're making some pumpkin cheesecake, and it's just in time for Thanksgiving. So if that's something you're interested in, stick around. After the intro, get right into it.
We know about sardine, mackerel, chicken neck, chicken back. Nothing I waste, nothing I dash way.
Pumpkin is an all year round fruit, so we can have pumpkin cheesecake all year round. Let's be honest, you can buy a pack of cream cheese and you find ingredients how to make a cheesecake. It's that simple. But we're going to give you a twist on it, as I said, to suit this occasion. And it's going to be delicious. We have here 1 pound of pumpkin. This is the Jamaican pumpkin, nice and firm. If you cannot find the Jamaican pumpkin, feel free to use the whatever pumpkin is local to you. But we need 1 pound peeled and washed. Same dark brown sugar, and that's 2 tablespoons. Right over here, we have some cinnamon powder. That's 1 teaspoon of cinnamon powder. And then now, we have 1 tablespoon of vanilla extract, and right here we have 3.5 cups of cream cheese, which is 3.5 packs here in Canada. Half cup of melted butter, 1.5 cup of granulated sugar. We're going to be using a graham cracker crust, but this is honey flavored, so we don't have to use any sugar, just the melted butter to bring everything all in. 400 grams of crackers, and that is, we're going to get at least 2 cups when we're done crushing these. And 5 large eggs, and that's it. The first thing you want to do in starting this cheesecake, ensuring that you have a nice hot oven. My oven is preheated to 425 degrees Fahrenheit, right? And the first thing we're going to be putting in the oven is that pumpkin. This is best done overnight to achieve that proper cook, as well as to get that cool down and have all those flavors come together. Now, I have here in a piece of foil my pumpkin that I already did yesterday. Well spiced and smell nice. We're going to replicate this. As I said, I had to do this for the sake of this video. Slice this nice and thin. Drop those pumpkins in your bowl. So we're going with about 2.5 tablespoons of that melted butter, just so we can have it dissolved. We're going to hit that with the cinnamon powder. And we'll just give that a nice little mix. And then pour that over now your pumpkin. We not waste nothing, you know. So you see the same file paper I'm going to reuse. But if you have a food processor, you can use that. I'm using just a regular blender. Add my pumpkin in, because we want to puree these nicely. Now we're going to massage these pumpkin now. Get everything coated with the sugar, the cinnamon, you see me? And we're just gonna place them out on here. When it melts, everything will just fall into place. Just wrap this up like a nice little present. Fold this side in. You can just pop this on your middle shelf in your oven just like that, or if you want to be more cautious and don't cause a mess, put a tray under there, but either way works. So you pop this in your oven for 45 minutes to 1 hour, or until fork tender. So as soon as you stick a fork in there, if the fork comes out without no resistance, then you know these are cooked and nice. Put them down to cool down, and then you're going to end up with something looking like this. So to answer the comment that you're going to ask, yes, you can use the puree one in the can, but I guarantee this will give you better flavor, and you can control the amount of sugar you put in here. So the next step, we're going to work on the crust, which is the graham cracker. Typically, I'd use my food processor, but my food processor is not working at the moment. So I'm going to try out this here. If this doesn't work, then we can take that to a Ziploc bag and do the smashing. See? But let's go. I'm going to put a little bit at a time, just by giving it some help. I'm going to break those. Alright, let's go, let's see. Gave it a shake, not bad. Improvise, you know, you have to improvise. This will speed along things. Alright, so it will work. You're using a little hand blender like this. You may have to just give it a little bit of shake here and there. But this is way quicker than pounding, I guarantee you. Alright, so if you want to save yourself time on this, you can always get yourself some of that pre-made crush from Bulk Barn. Or I think Walmart should have that as well. Let's see what we have. Nice, nice. I may have a few chunks in here. Nothing much. So now we're going to go in with that melted butter, which is a little under half a cup. Because we use some for that pumpkin, right? Just going to go in with the hand. I'm just going to mix this until everything comes together. Want to form like a nice little sticky consistency so that it can mold together easily. And this is fine, see? When I compress it, it holds up beautifully. And for the pan, I have a springform pan, and this is a 9-inch pan that I picked up in Walmart, but I have a link for this as well in the description. You can check it out, see? And right now, this is non-stick, so I don't have to spray or do anything to this. But if you don't have a non-stick pan, ensure that you spray it or even do the lining with the grease paper, right? We're going to go straight in now to the bottom of the pan with our crumb. All of that crumb. As I said, you could do less for the crust, but we like when the crust is nice and thick. So that's why we use 2 cups. And we're just going to evenly spread that across the bottom. If you have something like this, you can always do this and help you press it down, but your hands should be fine. Beautiful, nice and smooth and fully compressed. As I said, you can use your hands, but if you use something with a nice flat surface and a round edge like this, it will give you a better chance of getting this fully compressed evenly all around. So you need to crisp this up in the oven on the middle shelf for about 5 to 7 minutes. On 425 degrees. So let's go. All these years I've been cooking, I did cakes without a mixer. So if you don't have a mixer, of course you can do this. I normally use my hand blender. Trust me, that little thing helps me out a lot. I use my hand blender or just the old-fashioned whisk or your hands. You get where I come from? So let's get going. We're going to attach the paddle on here. And then now, gonna drop those cream cheese in. Let's go, let's go. And ensure that the cream cheese is at room temperature. That way it will be easier to work. And if it's not at room temperature, and if you're doing this last minute, pop it out the fridge, take it out the casing because you don't want to cause a havoc fire in the house. And just put them in a pan, cover it with put them in a bowl that's microwavable, cover it with plastic wrap and just heat it up for about 30 to 40 seconds in between, so that way it's easier to work. Now I'm going to start off at a low speed just to beat out everything. Scrape that down. Now we're just going to add the sugar. So low speed just to get everything mixed in. Soon as you see that start mixing in, then you're going to increase the speed to about medium. Yep. Gonna do this for about 3 to 4 minutes just to get everything nicely incorporated and fluffy. By that time we should have the graham cracker crust ready and set to cool down. Alright, so everything is getting nice and light. Scrape down the sides of the bowl as well as the bottom, just in case there's any lumps of sugar or clumps of cheese. We get that up and off so that everything can get nice and smooth. We're going to add that vanilla extract to this. Mix that in for a couple seconds. Low speed because you don't want everything come splashing out. Then gradually increase. There goes the crust. Alright, crust is ready. Put that on a cooling rack and allow that to cool down to an extent. We're going to add 1 egg at a time. So on a nice medium-low speed, we add those eggs in. And if you're not versed at this, you can break your eggs into a bowl and then add them in separately, just so you prevent the shells from going in. But as a great baking tip, you know, It's best to crack the eggs individually in a separate bowl, then add them to a bowl. Just in case, which is very rare in these modern times, you have a spoiled one in the batch, you don't mess up 5 eggs, 10 eggs or more. All right, let's stop this and show you what it looks like. Ooh, yes. Now, add that pumpkin puree in. Oh my days. All right, mix that up. Boom, and we're done. Yo, the little droplets of pumpkin shavings in there, just beautiful. And we're gonna pour. Beauty, beauty, beauty. This is gonna be a nice thick cheesecake. I normally like to get a toothpick, like to just swirl that toothpick around, ensure not to scrape the crust, just to get rid of any air pockets that may be present. So we're gonna put this on our middle rack in the stove for about 20 minutes under 425 degrees. And as soon as it rises a bit and set, then we'll reduce that heat now to 325 for about 40 minutes. So in total, we're going to bake this for an hour. Typically, you can bake this in a water bath as well. So I have a heavy duty foil paper. I'm going to roll out a good amount of that foil. Like so. And we're going to gently place that pan on here. And the reason why we put this in the foil paper is because it's a spring form, right? So water can easily go in the crease of this pan. But you gently do this because you don't want to break the tin foil up. Bring this up to the side of your pan and make sure that you rip this wide enough so that it just goes all the way up. So you crimp that gently. Place that in a bigger pan, which is not spring form. And this is a 12-inch that I have, so 9 into the 12. Place that in here gently. All right, so we have here some boiling water, which I almost pour into the cheesecake. Oh God, I tired of our Father God. Me almost dash you out of that cheesecake, you know?
What the fuck you, bro?
I want really just something to do, God. Make them know this. The best cook spoil the broth. Don't know what a perfect out of it. The best cook spoils the broth. Don't know what a perfect out there. I mean, no whip out my headspace and I almost pour the water in a cake batter. Tell me now. Yes, I don't know, probably you would see the video because I wouldn't have a video. But yeah, the hot water bath now is to cook that cheesecake evenly and to prevent burning of the crust and everything, right? The goal here is to bring the water up to the level at which the cake is in the pan. So you get a taller pan than the pan that you're baking in and a wider pan. So now we're going to pour that water in the pan that the cake mixture is not in the cake mixture. So pour that hot water, and this is heavy enough to hold its weight, right? It won't float because this batter is heavy enough. This is super hot. Boom. So we have about an inch remaining from the top because we don't want that water to come bubbling over into the cake mixture. So 425 degrees Fahrenheit, 20 minutes, just to get that cheesecake risen and set in a sense. Then we'll reduce that to 325 for about 40 minutes. So in total, we're going to bake this for an hour to get it nice and, you know, set. So after an hour, basically, we'll be back. We're going in the middle rack. Gently do this. Don't want to dash or nothing. I'm baking the cheesecake. It's 6 o'clock in the evening. Light just went out in Canada. That's surprising. But as soon as the cheesecake timer went off, then that was when the light shut off. So I guess God is working in my favor. The cake is right here. Now it's day 2. Yesterday we got this baked, and I'm telling you, you saw that clip. As soon as the timer went off, 2 minutes after, the light went out for about 3 hours. So I didn't get to show you what we did from there. Simply as soon as the timer goes off, what we did, took that from the water bath, Then we'll remove the foil paper. Something to note about cheesecake, do not panic, it's just perfectly normal. Once it goes over that hour to hour and 10 minutes at max, you will realize that the cheesecake seems a bit jiggly in the center. That is perfectly normal. That's what you want. You don't want it to be jiggly around the edge. You want it to be a little bit jiggly in the center. And once you set that down in room temperature to cool on a rack like this, then that will just bring back everything together, and then you leave that in the fridge overnight for best results, or 12 hours at minimum. That's exactly what we did. Remove the foil paper, wrapped it in some plastic wrap. Now, as I said, this has been sleeping overnight, and it's around 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So almost a day, right? And I'm going to just remove the cling wrap to show you what the cake looks like. All right, this has released from the sides of the pan beautifully. And there it is. So we're going to do a final touch to this. Trust me, it's going to sound a bit weird, but when you do this, it's going to be great. This is something we used to have in the restaurant, and I'm saying, okay, now it's the time for me to share this recipe with you. So right off the bat, we're going to go in with some sour cream, and I have half cup of sour cream. So that half cup of sour cream, 1 of 3 sweeteners you can use for this. You can either use granulated or powdered sugar or honey, or what I'm going to be using here is some condensed milk. I like the condensed milk because it gives it a nice little finish, you know. So I'm going to go in with about 2 to 3. I'm going to go in with about 2 tablespoons of condensed milk into that half cup of sour cream. So let's go in. 2 tablespoons of that, or you can sweeten this to your tolerance, right? I'm also gonna go in with my favorite rum of choice. You can choose some rum, just like a corkful here, just to give it a little touch of alcohol in there. This is total optional, but just to give it a little kick, you know what I say? Yeah, so put a little bit of rum, and besides, I don't really drink that much, and these are just there for display, so I could use it up, right? So let me get that off, grab myself a whisk, and we're gonna whisk this. This is best done like after the first 2 hours of baking the cake. When it's somewhat still warm, you would make this, put it on there, so when you leave it overnight in the fridge, then it would just nice and firm up. But because, as I said, our lights went out, we didn't get the chance to do that, so we're doing it now. And to speed up the process so we can cut into that cake and show you what it looks like, I'm going to drop this in the freezer for about 10 minutes just to set the topping real quick. So we're just going to give that a proper whisk to incorporate all these 3 ingredients. I'm just going to spoon that on evenly over the top. Just get a few dollops around, and you do this while this is still in the pan, so that way you don't have everything running down on the sides. So you're going to have that beautiful layer of the topping, the cheesecake filling, plus the crust. Alright, so as I said before, this right here, it's best done overnight, but we just need to cut in the cake because it's been too long. So squeeze and release. The cake was already released from the pan, so that's a good thing on our end. Beautiful. Crust is nice and thick on the bottom. Beautiful, firm and set. Then you have that beautiful top on here. So there you have it. Only one thing may I ask if you do, because I know you cannot taste it, but I'll taste it for you. If you did enjoy this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Try it out for Thanksgiving. Matter of fact, you can try this out all year round. Thank you very much for watching. If you're not yet a subscriber, what are you waiting on? Subscribe to the thing, man. Bring us to 300,000. See? Until next time, safe travel upon the gravel. This guy's in his room doing the outro. But you know what the thing said? Big up on yourself and stay safe. Me, I'm going to dig in and show you what it looks like.
Yes.